Well, he hasn't had a fever. Other than the stiff neck, he's been fine.
Are his vaccines up to date? Your pediatrician didn't send us anything.
He's never been vaccinated.
But my niece came down with long-term intestinal problems after getting a shot. We did a lot of research. Things have only gotten scarier since.
Not really. Weakness and fever might mean polio. If you guys traveled outside the US.
We don't travel.
And we reduced his exposure to infectious disease by putting him in a public school where he's surrounded by vaccinated kids.
That's herd immunity. By surrounding him with vaccinated kids, you're tacitly admitting that vaccines work.
I'm not saying they don't work. It's just not worth the risk.
They save millions of lives. You're endangering your...
I get it. I've worked with other families who feel the same way as you. It comes down to personal choice.
Dr. Park, may I consult with you outside?
Excuse us. They're gonna be here for a while. If I gain their trust, I can work to change their views from the inside.
They're part of a movement with social media support and bogus research to feed their beliefs. You wanna help? Send them away.
Do them no harm. I'm not sending them home with a sick kid.
One of my best friends refused to vaccinate her 1-year-old boy. I told her she was crazy. 3 pediatricians refused to take her on. She was rejected so often that she was finally considering vaccinations. And then some idiot decided to do no harm. That it was better that Carol's kid had a doctor than a vaccine. A year later, the kid contracted whooping cough. A month after that, she was climbing his funeral.
I'm sorry for your friend. But we don't have a choice. He's already a patient. Let's test him for polio. We're still waiting on the results. Yeah, I was talking to my colleague and I realized I owe you an apology. I lied to you. I had this good friend I grew up with. She had a 1-year-old boy she didn't want to vaccinate. She couldn't find a pediatrician. Do you guys use alternative medicine, homeopathic, or...
Homeopathic.
Oh, that's what Carol, my friend, did too. Unfortunately, I guess they didn't work. The boy came down with whooping cough. The coughing got worse. One night, the boy just stopped breathing. I know you know this stuff. You know how dangerous these diseases are. But it's different for me. It's different when you see a friend go through this. Please reconsider.
Dr. Resnick, do you have the test results?
Finn is negative for polio. But given the leg weakness and how the spine controls movement, we'd like to do an MRI.
Thank you for your advice. And we are sorry for your friend. But our opinion hasn't changed.
You stole my story.
It's a good story.
Stories don't change minds.
Stories are the only things that change minds. They're conducted by fear more than reason.
What these people fear is doing something that will hurt their child. So they do nothing thinking that inoculates them. They won't change.
You gonna wager on that?
I'll take your money.
Not money, liquor. I like me some whiskey. St. Ellison 23-year bourbon.
Fine. You will owe me a 2002 Chateau Montpouillan, the blue bottle, not the black. Wow.
2 spinal cords.
A congenital disorder in which part of the spinal cord is split in two.
Congenital? So he's had it since birth. Why didn't anyone see it?
It's rare, and with no obvious symptoms, doctors generally have no reason to look.
The problem is when Finn hit puberty, the split spinal cords rapidly stretched. The two strands got tethered to his spinal canal, which led to the weakness in his leg. As he grows, he's put at risk for paraplegia. And we can go in and untangle it. But anytime you're dealing with the spinal cord, things can get complicated.
And what are the dangers?
He could become quadriplegic. But the fact that he's presenting with weakness right now makes me think that this is progressing rapidly. I don't think we have a choice here.
Okay.
It's not.
Dr. Park? I had a long talk with my husband. We want to vaccinate Finn.
That's great, Bethany. Your son will thank you.
We want you to do it. As soon as possible. Unless you can't because of the surgery.
Oh, it shouldn't be a problem. We can start with the first round right away.
How much is a bottle of St. Allison 23-year bourbon?
$500.
$500?
$500.
Park.
Mind if I join you?
Of course.
I know you haven't been pleased with the way things have progressed with Dr.
Yeah, the chicken pox feels even worse. That's it.
Need a pee.
Wait, you see what can help you?
Don't get up, see what you want. I need to lift him and have them bring him backboard. I can't feel my leg. The left one.
How about that? Can you wiggle your toes?
I'm trying. Hey, step to the left man. Get in here nowhere now.
I'm going to do this. Let's go, team. Come on.
Dr. Bartlett's drilling off the laminate. Dr. Resnick, carefully open the dura in the midline overlying the cords. We need to separate the cords from the midline dural sac.
A $500 bottle of whiskey?
You should have checked before we agreed to. He's losing his motor and sensory evoked potentials.
Stop. We need to figure out a way to dissect the cleft free from the split and remove it without putting pressure on the spinal cords. Suggestions?
We should use the laser to cut any tethering adhesions before removing the septum.
Very good.
I decided not to press legal.
Can you feel this?
Yeah.
Good. Now we have to do a very complicated scientific test. Can you wiggle your toes?
Finn, your temperature's rising. How are you feeling?
I got the chills.
Is this from the surgery? Or is it something else?
I think your heart rate's jumping too.
His pressure's dropping fast.
What's wrong?
Sorry, Sean. Alone on this one.
We gave him oxygen and fluids. He's stable and resting.
You will have to go back to the surgery to wash out the wound.
I want to assure you this has nothing to do with any side effects due to Finn's vaccination.
His what?
It's the first round of vaccinations.
You vaccinated my son?
I asked Dr. Park to do it.
Without telling?
I was scared. If Finn got sick, if you brought something home to the baby.
We talked about this, you promised.
Fascinating. The second.
Dad haven't visited me together since yesterday.
Have they told you anything?
It has nothing to do with you. That's what you're thinking.
It's about the vaccination. Dad didn't know. So I'm not gonna get measles, but my parents are gonna get divorced.
I'm sure once they start
Are you
talking...
gonna talk to them?
I'm sorry. This is between them.
The vax thing you wouldn't let drop, but this doesn't matter. My mom's pregnant and my dad's not talking to her. And it's your fault.
Yeah, I knew this couple. They had a child. They were happy and building a life. One day the husband found out that the wife hadn't been honest. It broke their trust. And instead of working it out, they let the deception fester. Eventually, the husband moved out, moved away. Barely sees his kid.
I don't need any more of your parables. You and your stories are the reason I'm here.
You're here because you choose to be here.
Is that even true? That story?
No.
Measles kill. Broken homes don't. Go to a bar, let off some steam.
I'm going to the range.
You have your own gun.
I have 3.
Can I come?
Are you gonna talk?
No.
You pay for your own ammo.